about your people you cheated. The universe never forgets. And Father Time is undefeated. It's time to settle the books. You move like a ghost with a heart made of stone. Building your kingdom on a hollowed out throne. No integrity, just a mouthful of salt. Everything's a tragedy, but nothing's your fault. You point the finger till the knuckle turns white. Hiding from the truth out in plain sight. Mean-spirited, evil in a way that you flex, but you forgot about the rhythm and the ripple effects. You think you're sliding, you think you got away. You're just adding more interest to the price you're gonna pay. It's coming full circle, the grip is tight. No exit from the path, no escaping the night.
All right, all right, all right. Oh, I thought we was on. We're not. All right, all right, all right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Poppin' with Poppy. So tonight we will be having a nice, fun guest from Chicago, my favorite city. On, but before we introduce her, I'm gonna give you a little bit of what we're going to be discussing tonight. So, is anyone that really know I was a nail tech in Chicago back many, many moons ago. So I worked at Levon's on 95th in Beverly Hills. I worked on Celebrities on 87th. I worked at Molly's on 87th. And I was part of that industry when the nails started in the 90s with black nail techs. Had lots of fun. Worked for a couple different companies, OPI, Tammy Taylor, Creative Nails. Used to sell full sets of nails. My favorite though was pedicures. Love doing pedicures. That was my favorite. But let's get a little history about doing nails. So it's an $8.5 billion industry. Back in the 50s, I'm gonna say about 40s and 50s, the nail industry, they were called manicurists, and majority was black nail technicians. So back then, the hot thing was nail techs and barbers. Before that, if you know any of your history, you know what majority of black America was doing before the 40s and 50s. But this was a way for black women to be entrepreneurs. This was a way for them to bring money into the house. This was a safe place. It was a fun place. And again, they got to be an entrepreneur. Their mindset back then, they really wasn't trying to work for anybody. But a lot of times they couldn't even get jobs from, anyone. So they had to make their own way. So being a manicurist back in the 50s, you were able to survive. So acrylic was the hot thing. And it came around, I forgot, it was a dentist. It's a little fun fact, but it was a dentist who came up with acrylic. So that kind of took off. And Hollywood, of course, and more of your upper middle class people were getting their nails done. Some people even had private nail techs in their home, like they might have had a maid or a housekeeper in their home. So Hollywood, of course, was wearing nails. Everyday people really wasn't getting their nails done. You see movies, a lot of movies in Hollywood. Of course, their nails were done. So kind of speed it up to maybe around the 60s and 70s. Again, black women, we always got to adapt. So the industry kind of started changing. Acrylic started, being a thing in Hollywood. So now everyday people starting to find out the buzz about acrylic nails and fake nails and long nails and extended nails. So now we have one of my favorites, Diana Ross. What's the other lady? Oh, Donna Summers. I can't think of any of the other hot artists right now back in the 70s. But if you look at any of them old album covers, you see their nails done. It was a company called Lee Nails, Press On Nails. That was a hot thing the ladies was wearing also. So now your everyday women was starting to wear nails. The 60s and 70s was a hot thing again for a black hairstylist. So back then, when you learned cosmetology, they taught you everything, hair, skin, and nails. So a lot of the nail techs back then would put the forms on and make their nails, or they would buy the press on Lee nails. I remember my mother as a little girl always pressing them things on and filing them and everything. So now we're going to 80s. Now, this is a long thing, so this is going to probably have to be a part two and part three, but other nail techs maybe as well, because it's a lot of history here. But this is only a 45-minute to an hour show, so I'm not going to be able to get through everything, but I'm just giving you little bits and pieces. And our guests will elaborate also. So around the 80s, we started getting designs. So now, in the 70s, everybody's starting to know about the nails, free forms, press-ons. People still really not going to the nail salons as much. So around the 80s, we got FloJo. She comes out with us 5-6 inch nails. She was wearing stiletto nails. She got all these designs. She got the little holes with the gold charms hanging off the edges. It was just a hot thing. She was beautiful. She had her hair, her nails, body to die for. She was bringing a lot of attention everywhere. Hollywood, everyday people. So everybody, it just made the nail industry even boom even more. So now we're going to around the 90s. Late 80s and 90s. A lot of the rappers, Little Kim, oh shoot, Eve, all of them were wearing nails, wearing Missy Elliott, wearing their nails, having all the designs, and it's just starting to get bigger and bigger, the buzz for the nails. And then everyday women starting to get their nails done, and then they're starting to get designs. So it was a really big business. It was really, really hot in the late 80s and the 90s. It was a massive pioneer. Business. You could just make money. If you didn't want to go to college, or if you, a lot of people I know went to college, but they decided to go be nail techs because you were making a lot of money back then, especially with the hip hop industry going on. So it was a lady named, I think, Bernadette Thompson. She was a famous Hollywood, New York nail tech back then, doing all the designs, marbleizing the stones. Like I said, Little Kim used to go to her. So with this industry, everything is starting to get hot. Black ladies is really, really making money. What was the lady? Jane. I don't know. Jane. She was over in the Beverly area. She had a hot salon. Madge. She was another hot stylist back then. I would say Daphne and I. We were at Levon's. We had a huge clientele. I did Miss Rice. I had Monique Jones, Monique Davis, the state representative. Yeah, Monique Davis. I had a nice clientele in the Beverly area of Chicago. So, business is booming, making good money. Then we moved down south. Well, I was making making a couple $1,000s. I only worked 2-3 days a week. And I was making nice money. A lot of the clientels wanted designs. That was really some good money, instead of a basic manicure and just full sets of nails. But then you had the clients that wanted those designs and all 10 of them done with all the rhinestones and marbleizing and the charms. You could really make good money back then. Yes. So a couple of my husband gonna say he could do designs. A couple of my clients loved, at Easter time, he would draw the little Easter bunnies on there. And let me see, back then I was putting the $100 bills and the $20 bills on the tips of the nails with the French manicures, doing the French manicures with the red and the green. We had a good time back then. And like I said, lots of good money. Well, Evergreen Plaza down the street from Levon's on 95th Street, I started having all, 10, 12 clients a day. Then sometimes it started trickling down to about 7 or 8. I'm going back and forth. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Everybody was going to the plaza. Well, it was a Vietnamese salon in there, and there was a lot of nail techs in there. So you didn't have to wait. You didn't have to make an appointment. So that kind of changed the industry a little bit. But now, going back to me moving, I go down south, because in Chicago, black nail techs had black clientele, and we always had signs in the shop that always said black-owned salons. It got to that point in the 90s. So moving down south, they didn't want to go to black nail salons. They wanted to go to the Vietnamese salon. So my money was basically cut in half. So long story short, got out of that industry and went into makeup. But a little history, how this all started with the Vietnamese salons, with these, where they've just killing the game all over the whole country. They just started popping up one by one. So around 1975, Vietnam War was ending. And a lot of, I don't know the word, proper technique, they want to say refugees came into America, and they actually went to California. And it was a group of women, 25 women, that was, I forgot what part of California they were in. that this lady, actress named Tippy, anyone who knows the movie Alfred Hitchcock? Tippy, that was a famous actress in that movie, um, Birds. If y'all remember that, the lady with the blonde hair, I can't remember her last name, but Tippy was her first name. Her nails was always fly. She had a badass nail tech back then that was Hollywood was using her up left and right. I think her name was Dusty or Dustin. But Tippy was a philanthropist, and she felt sorry for these 20 or 25 ladies that came from Vietnam. She was like, they really need something to do. They really need something to do. We really need to find something for them to do. Let me think about it. Let me talk to a couple of my friends and see if we can get them, some type of work so they can be able to take care of themselves because they was living in a camp. Well, she goes back and talks to her famous nail tech, Dusty, and she said, a lot of the ladies in the camp love my nails. How about you come on over there and teach the ladies how to do nails? She said, okay, that's a good idea. So she went and taught them basic manicures, clean the nails, cut off the cuticles, polishing, your first thing of polish, you start in the middle and you do both sides. She was teaching them how to do French manicures, teaching them paraffin wax. So after they learned this skill, a lot of those ladies went out into Hollywood and decided, to start doing nails, making really, really good money. Now they calling back home to Vietnam. Hey, I learned this new trade and it's a lot of money. Y'all need to come on down here. So when they came on down, they was teaching their their friends and family how to do nails, male and females, teaching them how to do nails. And then they started spreading out in California doing nails. And it kind of took off from there. Now they're all over the United States, right? Everywhere you go, you'll see a Vietnamese salon. Some people call them discount salons. Some people, call them Vietnamese salons. So a lot of them learn from each one, teach one. Now, that kind of destroyed the industry now for black manicurists or black nail techs and nail health. Lots of funguses. I mean, I used to have so many customers to come in, and if I had a customer to come in with a fungus, nails or toes, I'm not putting a nail on. You got to let it heal. You're going to have to put some type of cream. I can't remember the cream we used back in the 90s, but you got to let your nails heal. Some people don't want to hear it. They go down to the plaza or wherever, and some people take your money and put it on, put the nail on, put nails on top of your nails, and then it causes even more problems. So the Vietnamese, like I said, um, the 20 ladies, it was 20 of them, started spreading out doing nails, and then it just took off from there. So their nickname is called the Original 20. Now you can go on YouTube and type in the Original 20, and I want to say that actress might still be alive. Tippy, if Tippy's not available, it might be Dusty, one of those two. I can't remember because I have not watched the documentary. But the Original 20 is the one, the ladies that took off, and now this $8.5 billion industry, the Original 20 is how the Vietnamese salons have taken over America. Hmm? So now I'm getting ready to introduce to you. I don't know what side of Chicago she's from, but I bet she's from the South Side because that's the best side. But we'll see. But Miss, and it's so funny. Her name is Kim. Miss Kimmelee. Did I say it right? I probably didn't.
Yes, you
I
did.
did. Okay, okay.
Kimmelee. Yeah, yes.
Hey, hey, beautiful. How are you?
Hello. I am good. I am good. Thank you so much for having me. This is a pleasure.
Thank you for coming on my show, and thank you for being a nail tech. I followed your page. I saw, since like I said, I was a nail tech. I saw what you were doing. I liked it, and I love the niche that you had going on. So that's what made me reach out to you. And thank you for coming. I really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So now introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay. Well, I'm known in the nail industry as Kim Mimi Lee. I'm the owner of Chicago's favorite nail spa. And what I do is I specialize in pedicures. I specialize in pedicures for problematic feet. And what problematic feet consist of if you suffer from fungus toenails, fungus of the skin, acne feet, if you have ingrown toenails.
Wait a
A
minute.
lot of
Wait,
my
wait, wait.
clients are diabetic.
Wait. Kind of back up because you froze for a little bit. You said you specialize.
Oh, okay. I specialize in pedicures for problematic feet.
Okay.
Yes. Now I didn't start out that way,
Mm-hmm.
but being in the industry for 7 years, this is where I am now.
So
And
you're,
so what I do is
I'm sorry, I was going to say you're a 2000 nail tech. You started in 2000, and you said 19 maybe? If that's 7 years, 2000?
well, no, I started, well, the love of doing nails really started back in the 80s and the 90s when I was just
Okay.
little. I was a kid.
Okay.
But professionally speaking, yes, I've been in the industry now for 7 years.
Okay.
So I started in 2019.
Okay. So the
Yes.
reason why I brought that up because there's a difference from the 70s, is the difference from the 50s nail techs, the 70s nail techs, the 80s nail techs, the 90s, and now you're in 2000. So there's a
Oh,
difference of
definitely.
each one of those. With the black nail techs, we had to come up with our own way and put a little niche in there to make money. So that's why I like what you're doing. And in your era of 2000 and something, I know it's way more competitive than when I was a nail tech back in the 90s. So,
Definitely. Definitely.
and in my
Definitely.
industry, when it started, we didn't have to have a license. But then in the 90s, you did have to have a license. So I know for sure in your
Mhm.
generation, you got to have a license.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Oh, definitely. You definitely have to have a license. It definitely needs to be renewed every 2 years. And then there are educational classes that you take throughout the year
Okay.
to make sure that you honed your craft.
Okay.
So yes. So so I started my love of nails just being in the hair salon. I have a family member, I have a sister that started out doing hair. And so I grew up as like one of those salon kids,
Okay.
always there. Um,
Okay.
and so that's where the love really started. Being just seeing the creativity. For me, it started in the 90s with me doing nails when I was in high school.
Okay. Okay.
So seeing the adults doing nails and just literally just sitting and watching. You know how you just watch the videos now of
Mm-hmm.
people applying the acrylic, doing the designs. So
Mm-hmm.
I had like hands on as a teenager, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's where my love started. Just the art, the creativity, because nobody has creativity like us.
No, I
So,
agree.
yes, that's where it all started, with me loving art and just the passion of nails. But once I actually got into the industry and I became licensed and I started working, and of course it's fast forward many years later because I started out just doing nails, like I said, in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much of a love of doing nails. I used to cut classes and go in the lunchroom and I heard you talk about Lee press on nails, and that was
Mm-hmm.
me. I would have
Mm-hmm.
my pack of Lee press on nails. I would have glue. I would have a toothpick and a piece of string, and that was my art. That was
So
my art design.
yeah, I was just gonna
That
say
was
that.
me being creative.
Yeah, I was gonna say the toothpick and the string. What was you doing? Designs.
Exactly, exactly. And so the love started there. But then as I entered into the industry, once I became an adult and I started working, I saw where the industry had changed. It had
Mm-hmm.
changed from what I once knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew growing up that you had your hair salons and you had your nail techs that were working in the nail salon.
Yep.
And this was essentially was a day spa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would get your hair done, you would get your nails, you get your pedicure all in one space. You get your eyebrows done,
Yes.
everything that you need, cut,
Yes.
color, everything right there at the salon.
Yes.
You would be there so long that you would get a meal over there. You have people coming in, bringing food, selling food.
You could buy your
You would be
movies.
able to purchase things. We bought movies, we bought CDs, anything that you needed. you could get right there, and that would carry you on for the entire week or the entire month, depending on what you purchased.
That's right.
it was it was it was a it was a breeding ground for creativity, the love of culture, and the love for our people. And so that's what I remember in the 90s,
That's right. That's right.
um, as a teenager. But fast forward, once I became licensed and I started working into the nail industry, I was working in a salon, and I remember that there were so many clients within a week that they would turn away,
Hmm.
and they would turn away and they would say, okay, well, we can't service these people, because they have issues with their feet.
Mm.
um, they have fungus, so they have really thick toenails,
Mm.
things of that nature. And of course, it is, above the scope of practice to do, any pedicures or services for people who do have issues with their feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it prompted me to ask, and I just was wondering, like, well, wait a minute,
Wait, wait,
if
wait.
they can't,
Wait, Kim. You say this
uh-huh,
out of the scope of the practice that work on their feet, but they go to some of them other salons and they still will work on their feet, right?
that's correct. But you
Mm-hmm.
have to understand that when, as a nail tech, as a black nail tech, once you come out of school, you work with a spirit of excellence. You have that integrity,
That's right.
right? So
That's right.
you go by the guidelines. If the state of Illinois, gives you a list of things that you can and you cannot do,
That's
you
right.
abide by
That's
that.
right.
And yes, we did we do that. Out, and they don't care if nails or foam nails. They'll just slap those nails or acrylics right on there as long as you have that money.
That's right.
But when I started, I was working in a salon where we did have, a code of ethics. We
You
abide by
freezing.
health regulations.
Kim, you're freezing. It keeps kind of like
Okay,
freezing.
going in and out.
You
I think
sound
it could
fine
be.
now.
I'm fine. Okay.
You sound fine. Hmm.
Can you see? Button.
No, you sound
Am I
fine now.
clear now?
Yes. So far,
Oh,
yes.
okay. Okay. So yeah, so when I got into the industry, and of course going if I go back in the industry, we know that there were those nail salons that, didn't abide by the rules,
That's
right?
right.
Because
Hmm.
it was money over people,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
And so, and we call those like the chop shops,
Yes.
or the in and out shops. They get you in and they get you out. And when they came in, they were more prominent in the 90s, because I do remember then where, when you had on the neighborhood block, you had your corner liquor store, you had your church, and you had a nail salon.
Yeah.
So when that community of people came in, they came in like a rushing wind, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was like they came and they just dominated the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of clients did start going over, to
Mm-hmm.
those salons because they found a niche, right? So when you had your black nail techs in the hair salon doing, nails and doing pedicures, it was an all day process, because we understood that this was a reset time. You're not just getting your hair done, you're not getting your nails done, your feet done. This was wellness, right? Because you had mothers who were working, they had kids, taking care of the whole household, doing a lot of different things. So this was your me time to relax,
That's right.
right? But then somehow we moved away from that. And when they came in with getting you in and getting you out, that quick, fast service, it was convenient.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It was convenient because you had so much to do and the world was evolving. But the problem with that convenience is, after a while, you realize, yeah, they gave you really, really fast service and the prices were extremely cheap.
Yes.
You had the multiple techs that was actually in the salon, so you didn't have to wait. You didn't have to make those appointments,
Mm-hmm.
and so that did draw a lot of people to the convenience of it, right? This
Yes.
is like in your early 90s, mid 90s. But the downfall was after a period of time,
No, you
It
breaking up.
is cheaper service, but you notice that the quality of the nails wasn't the same.
No, they nails
The
were way
products that they were
thicker.
using,
Their nails was way
baby,
thicker. The designs wasn't all of that, and some of the nails kind of look like eagle talons. They were so thick and the curve so humped. They just didn't look
the
natural.
nails were so thick, if you dropped a penny or a nickel or a dime, you might as well leave it there because you wasn't able to pick it up.
Nope, nope. They
Those
was
nails.
yeah. They was just too thick, too thick.
Yeah, so it was a lot of things that factored in. It was very inexpensive services that they provided. It was in and out, but then you realize that with the products that they were using, they were subpar.
That's
They
right.
weren't quality. They weren't quality products that was using. A lot of the products that they were using were well today is illegal because of practices that they were doing.
Yeah,
It was literally ripping people's nails off.
yeah. I always heard. Now I don't know how true it is because I used to go over there in Evergreen Plaza to that nail. You know, you had to have a license to go in there to buy my nail
Hmm.
supplies. Like my favorite was OPI, Tammy Taylor, Creative Nails, and it's probably because I worked for all three of them. But I would switch between those three. But I can't think of the nail supply store back then. But one of the ladies in there said that she still believed that they were using the dental equipment. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but you know,
Yeah,
however they bought their products,
because it stayed on long.
yeah, and
It
however
stayed on long.
however they bought
But
their
but
products is never no name on it. Remember, it was always just in a big white container in a big brown
yeah.
glass jar. You never could tell what
Mhm.
it was. Versus when you
Mhm.
go to black nail salons or white nail salons, you can see what they're using. It was either the sports creative
Right.
nails or the I forgot the OPI 3000 whatever the one that was more
Mhm.
extended. Um but I always thought it was odd when you go there you don't know what they're putting on your nails at all. Only thing you can see is the polish
Well, they
names.
didn't have labels. Right. They didn't have the labels
Mhm.
on it because when they came in as a community. They came in as a family. And
Mhm.
so when they purchased their item, they purchased it in bulk.
Bulk, right.
So when they purchased their item, they were purchasing it for several different salons. It wasn't
Mhm.
just that one salon where you or I would go to go buy our products, and then you will see we would get a name brand product and the names and all the ingredients and the instructions and everything was listed.
Right.
They were buying it in bulk and they were taking it to two and three different salons.
Right.
And so that was one of the issues, right? Because it was poor quality in the products that they were using. And then they also had a trickery. Because I remember even now, this was in the 90s, right? But
Mhm.
even when I started doing nails in 2019,
Mhm.
I found myself still educating people because there was a trickery where they were telling people that they were getting gel nails, but they were actually getting acrylics with gel
With
polish
Jill,
on the
yes,
top.
somebody else
And
told me that. Like, really? And I guess the people just I guess I take it for granted because I know, but I was just shocked.
mhm,
I've heard
right.
this before.
The public didn't know. And the reason it was a trickery because then you had acrylics that came out just like you were given the history of it before,
Mm-hmm.
but then on a higher price point, you had your hard gel. And see, your hard gel, you couldn't get people in and out with hard gel
Heck no. And if
because
you,
you literally
yeah, go
had
on.
to sculpt the nails.
Yes, yes,
You had to sculpt
yes,
the nails. You had to have that apex. You had to have no bubbling, no
mm-hmm.
air pockets in it. It had to be perfection.
That's right.
And so they found a way where they where they had clear acrylics,
Mm-hmm.
and they would put clear acrylics on your nails,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would polish it with a soft gel to give you that same illusion. Because keep in mind, hard gel at that back then that was a extra luxury. You only got
Yes.
that at your spas, at the finest
Right.
hotels
Right.
or the elite spas,
Right.
things of that nature.
That's
And
right.
so
And
they would give
everybody
you,
couldn't
oh,
do it.
everybody couldn't do it.
Mm-mm.
No, because you had to really be trained in doing it, and it wasn't an in and out service.
Mm-mm.
But they found the loophole when they came with the clear acrylic and just putting that polish on it, so it gave you that appearance. But the trickery was not so much that they were giving you acrylic and putting the gel on there, The trickery was they were upcharging a lot of people for gel. And
Mm-hmm.
so people thought they had hard gel nails when
Mm.
baby all you have is acrylic
Mm-hmm.
with the
The
polish on
gel
the top
polish
of it.
on.
Exactly. And it was so crazy because here I knew this back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I became a nail tech, I found myself educating people almost what 20 years
Yeah,
later,
that's
like, no,
crazy.
you gotta get in jail. And then
Mm-hmm.
so people I remember there was one situation where the young lady and I had to because I was going through the process of trying to convert people from acrylics to hard gel.
Mm.
And a lot of people didn't know what they were getting on their nails, and they was like, I don't know what they're putting on my nails. And so I would have to ask the question, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say, so when they do your nails, are they taking a brush and they're dipping it in liquid and
Mm-hmm.
then a powder and forming the nail? And they would say, yeah, that's what they're doing. Then they put it up under the light, and when I would tell them, well, that's acrylic, that's not gel.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would dispute me, like, no, it's not gel. Peter said it was gel, but Peter and Tom, that was the
Mm-hmm.
names they were giving them back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to them for years, so they were trusting them that they were actually giving them gel. And
Mm-hmm.
so to get people to understand like what we know as educators in the industry, I would always give them the example, and I would say, okay, so when you put gel in your hair, when you're doing your hair, do you take a liquid and a powder and mix it together and then it forms gel and you put it on your hair? And they would say no. That's the same thing with gel. When you get gel, gel is in the container and it's already gel in its form. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
have to educate them when they're taking the powder and the liquid and mixing it together, you're getting a
Acrylic.
clear. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took when I tell you, I think I went on like a soapbox of maybe 2, 3 years campaign of just
Mm-mm-mm.
that you're paying jail prices, but you're not getting jail. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was the trick that had gone on for years in the nail industry. Because one thing is they get you in, they get you out. They don't tell you they're going to educate you about the health of your nails.
They don't even want to
They're
talk
not.
to you.
No, only thing is asking you, do you have a boyfriend?
Mm. And like, why is
I
that your
mean,
business? So let me tell you what was
you
a
know,
pet peeve. Let me tell you what was a
uh-huh.
pet peeve of mine. The paraffin wax machine.
Mhm.
Back in the day, they just dipped everybody's hands and feet all in the same paraffin wax. Just dip, dip, dip. I'd be like, oh my God. And y'all want to go down there because they charging $25 for a full set versus us was $45 back then, I think, for a full set of sculpture nails. And I think it
Mhm.
was 20, it was 30. It was 30 or 35 and 45, I think, for sculpture nails and 35 for a full set.
Mhm.
And keep in mind, this was 90s. And then, designs was per nail, but they were 25. Then, extra $10 for wax on your
Right.
hands. But we put wax in, you're going to let us know because you made an appointment enough time. So the wax is going to be already melted by the time my customer comes in. And it's only enough wax for that one customer. Then you're going to take it, you're going to sanitize it, you're
Exactly.
going to clean it out, you're going to throw any excess wax away, you're going to clean it out, then you put more wax in for the next customer. They don't do
Mhm.
that over there. Just
No.
everybody's nasty hands just dipping in and out, feet, hands all in the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, and you wonder why you have a nail fungus, ma'am. Your fingernail is
Not only
brown.
that, not only that, they will use it for your seats.
Yeah, that's what I
And keep
said.
in mind,
Hmm.
right? Keep in mind, they getting you in and out. So with that in and out service, they don't have time to be
No,
cleaning
they
and
never was cleaning.
sanitizing the
No, they just,
implements
yeah, they
because
just,
they got a wall of women lining up with polish in their hands, waiting to be served. So they dipping your feet over in there, they're dipping your hands, and then they're now it's so bad they're waxing the eyebrows. I had a
don't tell
client
me they're
because
using the
I do.
same. No, they can't use the same paraffin wax for eyebrows.
Well, no, what I'm saying is they use the same method, right? And they're
Oh,
doing the
just
same thing
dipping.
over and over.
Oh my God.
Exactly, just dipping, because, like you said, they're not changing anything out.
That's really
And so I had a young
disgusting.
lady because when you think about it, do you remember in the industry when you were doing nails, when you were doing pedicures,
Hmm.
so many people having no toenails, fungus
I
on
had
their feet?
I had a few people that always would get a fungus on their thumb or their toenail, their big toe, and they didn't get it from
Mhm.
where I was working. They would come from somewhere else and get it, and then they wanted to switch salons because they got something from down the way, and then you want to come to me. So
Mhm.
yes, I do remember, but it wasn't a lot. I heard now it's way more than it was back then.
It is so much more now that I have built my business on doing pedicures for problematic feet.
Mm.
My largest clientele is a clientele that has fungus, with where I'm recreating the softness of their skin,
Mm-hmm.
because the skin ravels, and I'm helping my clients grow their toenails back. So
What?
that's one. And then, of course, the second largest clientele that I have is for ingrown toenails. But yeah, it was here and there where
Mm-hmm.
someone, because in the industry you're gonna get a greenie, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing acrylic, if the acrylic is not really applied on the nail really good, and water gets in there, it
Mm-hmm.
lifts.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna get a greenie here and there. But when I tell you, I have women that come into me have no toenails on all 10 of their toes. They have, and then I always ask them, like, how did it started? Like, do you remember? And they
Mm-hmm.
always say, well, I went and got my feet done, and then I noticed it was a spot. But then, I would get it done again, right over it, and then after a period of time, it would develop before they actually go to the podiatrist or
Mm.
actually get it checked out. And then at that point, they have the weakening of their toenails,
Mm,
and
mm,
things of that nature. And so now it's still new in the industry that I'm in, which is a holistic medical pedicures, but it is so needed. When
mm,
I tell you that I stay booked and busy all season, I don't
mhm,
have downtime.
mhm,
Summertime, springtime, fall, the winter season, because what I'm literally doing is each client, they have their own treatment plan. They have their own wellness routine that I'm giving them to try to restore their feet back from issues that they have from those in and out shops.
mm. So, question: since you're a 2000 nail tech, do you guys do the cards with the person's information and all that, like we did back in the day? You know how you got your client card. Do y'all still do that? I'm sure it's computerized
Well,
now.
it is. So I have a tablet, and we call them soap notes. And so
Okay.
what it is we assess. What we do is we assess the feet.
Mhm.
And then we get a treatment plan going
Mhm.
as far as what issues that they have. Because some people have multiple issues where they have ingrown toenails and they have fungus,
Mm.
or some people they're diabetic,
Mhm.
and they have calluses. So yeah, so there's what we call soap notes, and we do an assessment. We do a plan of action,
Mhm.
and then the client actually helps us too, because we give at home products, and a routine of how to clean their shoes, how to clean their socks, even their bedding, as
Mm.
far as their feet,
Now you know.
for things of that nature.
Now you know the other
I
salons
know,
is never
and
going to
this
tell
is
any of
where the
them any of
industry,
that.
right, this is where the industry is gone, because we've placed our people in the hands of others who just care about the mighty dollar. And
Mhm.
so now we have to go back and
Mhm.
do a reversal. And so now it's not, you're not just a basic pedicurist anymore, or a
That's right.
basic nail tech anymore.
So
And you have a lot of young ladies or nail techs in the industry now that don't even do pedicures because it's so overwhelming.
really, that was
They
my
don't know what.
favorite. I like doing pedicures. The feet are actually cleaner than
Yeah,
the hands.
exactly. But they don't know where to start because
Mm,
it's so overwhelming.
wow.
And
So
so,
I want you to notice in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, no fungus. The percentage of a fungus was like,
mhm,
it was like one, I'm going to say 0.1. It was very low. Very,
I
very
can
low.
believe that. I can believe that. One,
People were
because you
cleaner.
didn't have gel polish then,
Yeah.
but you have to keep in mind you didn't have, because let's be honest with the convenience of gel polish. You can go and get your toes done and have gel polish on your toes, and clients will come. 3 and 4 months later, get another pedicure with this gel, their toenails. So just think of the time that your toenail grows out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when your toenails are not that a normal, you don't have depth when you're walking, right? And so you have people who will hit their toenails on the side of the bed and they get up to go to the bathroom at night or just for any reason, and now your toenail is lifting. Well, if you have that polish on there, you can't see the blood clot or how much damage or the lifting of the nail that has been done.
Mm.
And so back in the 50s, yeah, so of course you had minimum fungus on the toenails because you have regular polish and you have polish remover and you can take it lasts what 7 days and you can
Mm-hmm.
just take it right on off and you
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the toenails growing out and then people saying, well, I don't know how to take it off and I don't know how to maintain it in between my visits.
I don't
And
even
so a
put
lot of
gel on my
times,
toes.
yeah.
I get
Like
regular
only
polish.
the only time that I do recommend if you don't wear gel on your toenails is
Mm-hmm.
if you're going on a vacation and you're going to a sandy beach area
Mm-hmm.
because that sand will eat away the
Okay.
enamel of regular
Okay.
polish. But
Okay.
yeah, for a lot of people who have very thin nail beds,
Mm-hmm.
gel is an overkill
Hmm.
and it's not necessary. And I do have clients where they just come strictly and get regular polish.
Mm-hmm. That's me. I'm on regular polish. Oh, it's gonna. They try to tell you it's gonna take longer. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna wear my regular polish.
Because they got to get you in and they got to get you
Mm.
out.
But I
That
started
bowl has
going.
to
I
turn over.
I started going because it was a hot thing also in Chicago, '90s Russian nail salons. But I don't let them cut my cuticles off. That's not happening.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
in Chicago, there's a big market for the Russian nail techs, but they
It
all up
is.
north. They all up north in the suburbs. But here in San Antonio, Texas, there's a few Russian nail techs, and they prices is a little pricey, but they
Yeah,
worth it. And
and
guess
you know
what?
what?
Guess
Uh-huh.
what? They're waterless.
They are
Mm-hmm.
because they use the technique. They use the technique of the e-file
Mm-hmm.
in order to do what we just manually do with the nippers and with the pushers. But I will tell you, if you have a seasoned and a skilled nail tech,
Mm-hmm.
their manicures are just as equivalent to a Russian manicure.
Mm.
It is. Now, Russian manicure, that technique, that method that is used, it does give you a clean, smooth, a beautiful look.
Mm-hmm.
But, but
But I
in
didn't hear
that
you.
same look,
You froze. I didn't hear
I
you.
said the Russian manicures give you that seamless look,
Yes.
that very polished, and it's a nice, clean,
Yes.
elegant look. But
Yes.
you can get that same look you doing a regular manicure if you're just meticulous with it, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, the
Because I
problem.
have I have I
Go.
have nail tech friends who will not do a manicure because they've been in the industry 12 years, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at their manicures, it's just as equivalent as far as the quality of a Russian manicure.
Mm.
Because when you think about it, using nippers and using pushers is the manual job of what the e-file.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And a lot of nail, like your old school nail techs that are still doing manicures,
Mm-hmm.
they don't like doing Russian manicures because the process of it is once they push the cuticle back, they're actually cutting the eponychial.
Mm-hmm.
And that eponychial is that barrier that you do have from your skin to your nails that protects to make sure that you don't get bacteria,
Which they teach you in the
don't get
nail school. Do not cut it off. I don't understand how this happened
exactly,
because I'm like, I know I read that
exactly.
part in the book. I passed the test, and you couldn't cut the cuticles off. You cut a hangnail off, but you don't cut the cuticles off. But I tell them, don't cut my
Yeah,
cuticles.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't care
so
who.
you have that. But have you noticed though, you do have different cultures that come into the nail industry and they don't abide by, especially in Illinois rules,
In
but they
Texas
get away
rules
with it.
neither, because Texas rules the same
They get
book,
away with it.
and
Yeah.
and they can't cut them off, but they do. But I tell them don't cut mine off, and I am so quick, and this is bad. I am so quick to get asked for their equipment. And I've been down to do my own stuff because, like, lady, you still working on the same thing, and keep telling you don't cut my cuticles. So I put my whole foot up in the chair, girl, and I know that's bad, but sometimes they not doing
Yeah,
it right.
that is. That
So
is.
I'm like, I hate to have to
Yeah.
pull my
Yeah.
resume out, but I still know what I'm doing just because I don't do nails no more.
Right.
All right, so let's switch it up.
They hate to see.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Go on. What was you going to say?
No, I'm gonna say they hate to see a nail tech coming
Absolutely.
because we know the right way.
That's right. So
And we know the right way.
we're gonna
Yeah.
switch it up a little bit. So back in the 90s, as I said, in designs, well, full sets of nails, and I did silk wrap back then and the fiberglass. For people that didn't want acrylic, but sometimes they might have cracked their nail on a little corner. We trying to save the nail, but
Which is a lost art. I love that. It's a lost
that's what I
art.
was going to
Most
ask
people
you. Are
don't
they
do that
still
anymore.
doing fiberglass and
Mhm.
silk?
That's a needle in the haystack. To
Okay.
find a nail tech that knows what it is
Hmm.
and actually know how to apply it.
So they don't even teach that in
Thank
school
God.
anymore.
Well, I'm not quite sure if the new school, if they teach that. I was taught that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when I went to nail school, my teacher was old school, where he was in nail competitions in the '80s, and so
What was
that
his
was still
name?
a part of. His name was Mr. Roy at Blue Island. Is in Blue Island, Illinois. Is a Chicago nail school.
No, I don't know him. Because I used to do
Yeah.
competition back in the day too. I used to do a full
Mhm.
set of nails in 30 minutes because Tammy Taylor, I don't know if she exists anymore, but she was known for doing
Mhm.
a full set 25, 30 minutes. And I had that down to a T. 25,
Oh
30 minutes,
wow.
full set of nails, buff. And the acrylic was so smooth. The buffing was very, very light. Put a little cuticle oil
Uh-huh.
on, go wash your hands, bam, polish you out of there.
Mhm.
Next customer.
So yeah, the next the actual technique of what you guys were doing was perfected. Definitely
Yes.
perfected coming
And
doing that
and
during
I
that
didn't use a
time.
drill. Even though I had one, but I never used the drill.
Mhm.
It was all, you know,
Well, when I went to nail school,
filing.
when I went to nail school, they did teach, we did not they did not teach us with the file. And one of the reasons that he did not teach with the e-file is he said, what if something happens where you don't have electricity?
Mm.
If God forbid something happened, how are you going to finish that service?
Hmm.
You have to be able to know how to do it if you have the e-file or anything electrical that you're plugging up, and
Hmm.
you need to know how to do nails manually as well.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's the way when I went
So
to
that was
nail
one
school.
good thing I can say that I got from there.
Yeah. So check this out. 90s, hot, hot, hot
Hmm.
airbrushing. I used to airbrush thanks to my husband because he used to paint cars. So he used
Okay.
to put the designs on. I don't know if you know what lowriders are, but he used to do a lot of
Yeah.
lowriders back in the 90s. And he's been in a couple magazines, by the way. But he would do
Okay.
the pin striping with the airbrush. So I got to have an
Hmm.
airbrush machine. I had an industrial airbrush machine. So I would
Oh
airbrush
wow.
and we do the French manicures with the airbrushing. Do they do that anymore? Is that still a thing or?
Well, the airbrushing has come back.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
with everything, it takes a good 20, maybe 25 years, and it comes back and is repackaged as something different. Just like we mentioned, like the Russian manicures,
Mm-hmm.
that's that's repackaged. Black
Okay.
nail tech have been doing manicures like that 20, 30 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, so it has made a comeback.
But look, the Russians still didn't beat the Vietnamese salons. The Vietnamese salons that came in and still holding. The Russians is,
They
they're
are.
a little here and little there. And they normally in really,
Yeah,
really affluent neighborhoods. The Russian
they are. And see, I don't think a lot of people there's different categories.
you breaking up.
There's different categories.
You breaking up.
You have your
Hmm?
um,
Okay.
how about now?
Say it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess it's somebody. That's why.
Okay.
Um,
You were saying about
I
the
don't
Russian
think
salons?
well, yeah. So there's a difference between your Russian salons and then your Vietnamese salons. There's different categories. You have your nail shops, which are those inexpensive shops that get you in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your nail salons, where they give you the option of they give you full services,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have your spa,
Mm-hmm.
where those are your luxury treatment. And see, the problem is you have a lot of people, they'll go to the in and out shop expecting spa treatment, or quality, that quality of service, and then they're not pleased.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so there's different categories.
Now, have you ever worked
There's
in a
definitely
spa?
different categories. Yes.
Okay. And were you on the
Yes.
south side or?
When I worked at the spa, I was on the south side, but I did have the privilege of working on the west side, at a nice spa as well.
Okay. I worked in a
So yeah,
spa in Memphis at Peabody Hotel.
okay.
And I think I was the only black nail technician in there. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was the only black nail technician in there. And Mike Tyson had a fight in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
I'm all geeked up because the salon closed at 6. They said, anybody want to stay later? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay later. I got one even
Mhm.
better. I'm gonna go to their rooms, and the price is doubled if I come to your room to do nails. Girl, let me see. I did. What was his name? Al, Allen Iverson. I don't know,
The
some lady.
basketball player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know the lady's name, but I did her nails. I did a news reporter from CNN, huh? Tiny. I did a lot of stars nails. Girl, I was going in the room back to back. But let me tell you, Gould Salon, Russell Simmons came in because he wanted a massage. It was like
Okay.
5:30. The salon closed at 6. You know they turned him down. They was like, absolutely not. When I tell you Mike Tyson's fight brought all the crazy folks from all the United States with the purple hair
Mhm.
and the nails with the designs, girl, I made some good money. But that
Yeah.
salon was not interested in that clientele at all. When I tell you
Yeah.
6 o'clock, that door was locked at 5:58. So I told the girl
Mhm.
downstairs, it was the receptionist, hey, I'm gonna pay you. You still keep answering the phone, and I will go to the rooms and do nails. So I would call my
Oh,
husband and say,
okay.
I'm going to room such and such, such and such. So I forgot, was it Jodeci? It was one of them groups, girl. I went in there, did a pedicure. They had so much
Mhm.
alcohol in them, and that warm water, all you could do was smell the cognac coming out of the water. Cause they was drink. I mean, they was up there straight partying. But I made some good money that night. I had a good time. Um, those were some good old days. I made some good money, but that salon was something else. When I tell you, they did not want no parts of any of that. I was like, you
Mhm.
could charge double. They was like, not
Mhm.
interested. Nope, they did not. And they were coming in there, girl. It was packed to capacity, and the people were waiting. They
Mhm.
was like, nope. Once we get whoever out of here, that's it. And I think they closed the next day too. They didn't want nobody else back in there.
And that's your difference between your nail shop, your nail salon, and your nail spa,
Mm-hmm.
and even day spas. Because
Mm-hmm.
your nail shop, they'll keep that light on, that door open, and they will have people packed in there getting you, and they gonna make that money.
Girl, I
They
used
gonna
to
make
work.
that money.
I used to work when I was on 87 at Celebrity Salon, which Montel Griffin used to come in there, R. Kelly, all the little celebrities at home would come in there. I'd be in there to 2, 3 in the morning sometimes doing nails on a Friday night.
Yes,
Didn't
yes,
have no
yes,
problems neither.
yes,
And then
yes.
men pay more.
Um,
Then they gonna tip more.
mhm.
So girl, please.
Yes.
Cause I worked on the side with the barber shop. Girl, I have no problem. I'd be in there all night. I stay to 5 in the morning if I'm gonna making some money. I don't
Mhm.
care. Look, call me hustler. Well, some
I
people think that's
understand.
a bad name, but I don't think so. But I was
No, it's
making my
not.
money.
Because honestly, that's why I honed my craft and I got my chops. My second year in the industry, because my first year that I was in the industry, I was on the west side
Mm-hmm.
working. I was in Oak Park.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
okay.
Oak Park, Illinois.
That's a good
And then my
clientele.
second year,
Mm-hmm.
it was. It
Mm-hmm.
it really was. And my second, and as I was building and building my clientele, so I came to the South Side.
Mm-hmm.
In my second year, I worked on 79th Street.
Mm-hmm.
It was a unisex salon. When I tell you it was 19 stylists,
Where
I
was
was
that
the
at?
only, I was the nail tech. It's called Urban. It's literally across the street. Remember the old Sears and Roebuck?
I didn't hear you. Do I remember what?
Do you remember the old Sears and Roebuck that was on 79th Street?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Is that on the
So it's
corner?
literally across the street.
I know exactly what.
Yes,
Okay. I've gotten my hair done in there a
exactly.
couple times. Me and you both know someone that works
Exactly. And when
there.
I really,
Did-
yeah. So that I mean, Chicago is a huge metropolitan city, but it's a small city too, because everybody know everybody.
Right. That's right.
So yeah, so I worked there, and when I tell you it was 19 different stylists, it was barbers, it was locticians, you had braiders, you had wig makers, you had your old school bump and curl, and when I can attest to, yeah, so because I would have my clients from 9 to 5
Mm-hmm.
who made appointments.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be cleaning and packing up and ready to go. And so the guys on the other side where the barber shop was,
Mm-hmm.
they would come and they would say, "Hey, I know you ain't packing up getting ready to leave. Can you do one more pedicure?"
Mm.
And I was like, so I'll take that one pedicure. And they were so impressed with the pedicure. They would get on the phone and they'd be like, "Man, you need to get over here on the 9 because I done had the best pedicure of my life." And so it was literally when I would turn around, it would literally be 3 and 4 men just sitting there waiting to get a pedicure. And so sometimes it was 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, leaving up out of there
That's funny.
as a young nail tech. I had a nerve. You burn yourself out.
That-
You can't do that every day. But to Lynn, what you said, it was a hustle. And that's where I really, really honed my craft right there on 79th, on the 9.
Hmm. On the 9. I always hate when we come home. My
Yeah.
husband likes driving down 79th Street because since I'm from 87th area, and it's funny, as a kid, I just never went
Okay.
past the Sears or White Castles over there. And he just told me that's his stomping grounds because
Okay.
he was raised over there in Chatham. But he loves driving down 70. And I'm like, I hate
Okay.
driving down 79th Street. It's so funny. But getting back to, since you said Chicago, um, it's a
Hmm.
South Side is a small city within the city, but me and you have something in common. When we were talking on the phone the other day, or we know somebody. So I told you when I was in L Tech, I used to work at Molly's Hair Salon, which was on 87th Street. And then you told me you
Yeah.
had your sister that worked in the salon. And then I was like,
Hmm.
wait a minute, what's your sister's name? And then you told me, and we were laughing about it. And I said, I remember her little sisters coming into the salon. So that had to have been you coming to
Hmm.
visit and getting your hair done.
Hmm. And
I
didn't
know.
even know
Isn't
that
that
our paths
crazy?
were. Yes.
And I
So
was,
Molly's Emporium.
that's right.
When I tell
Molly
you
was a
that
hustler.
that was
That's
baby.
why when I tell you that's what I learned from Molly. Molly didn't turn no money down. They say they want their hair done. They only had such and such. She said, "Well, let me figure it out. You come sit in the seat, girl. She might charge them whatever they have in their pockets. She gonna get their hair done. But the people will come
M-
back.
yes. Molly was the OG on 87th Street,
That's
right?
right.
Right down from CVS High School.
That's right. That's right. Best city,
Yes.
best high school in the city. So I'm gonna have to forward this. I don't know if she's on here. Money, Jane. That's my good girlfriend's mother, Jane.
Yes.
So
Yes,
Jane used to
because
work
Jane
in.
worked.
Go on.
Yeah. Yes. Jane worked in the shop. Um, there it was Jane that was there. There was another hairstylist by Amy. I don't know if she was there when you were there, but Jane had a niece there. I can't
Yeah,
think
they
of
were
her
there.
name right
I can't
now.
think of their names neither. They were there. And it's funny. I know Jane. My mother used to work at a salon. Okay, it was King George, which is on the corner on the left side where the cleaners is. King George, and next to
Uh-huh.
King George was Mahan. Because back in the 60s, all the hairstylists were men. It wasn't any really women doing hair
Okay.
that much. 87th Street had hairstylists, but they were men. So my mom worked in Mahan's salon, which was next door to King George. And then my mother decided to open her
Okay.
own hair salon, which was, I think she was the first female on 87th Street at East End behind the butcher shop, across from Thomas Restaurant. So
Okay.
Thomas Restaurant on the corner back in the late 60s, 70s, there was a butcher shop. And then behind the
Mm-hmm.
butcher shop was a hair salon. So my mom worked there from shoot 60s all the way up to when I was out of high school. And then she
Oh
decided to go
wow.
downtown to Marshall Field. She closed her salon and went downtown. But
So you, so you know, because you know then when you can attest to that when you got your hair done, you had your nail techs in
yes,
the
we had
salon.
my mother had two nail techs and she had six hairstylists in her salon. She had a boutique. Hmm? Yeah, Jane was one of the hairstylists in my mother's hair salon. And then my
Okay.
mother had a boutique on the left side, and then the right side was the hairstylist, and the back was the salon. So I learned how to shampoo, condition. I learned how to put hair color in. I knew the little tricks
Mm-hmm.
how to get the hair color off the edges. Girl, I had to do all this stuff. I had to sweep the floor. I used to have to go down to Woolworth to get the lunch for
Mm-hmm.
everybody. I used to have to go across the street to Thomas Restaurant to get the lunch for everybody. And then I made my tips. So I was Uber Eats before Uber Eats existed. How about that?
Before Uber Eats.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. They be using me up, but I
Yes.
ain't mad because I was making money. And then I go down the street to the beauty supply store, First Korean beauty supply store on 87th Street. That lady just left maybe
Mhm.
in maybe 2019 or 18. She had been there since the 70s. But I would go there and get everybody's hairpins and
Wow.
rollers and gel, whatever they might have needed. Little small stuff. Because they
Mhm.
always had a professional Jordan's beauty supply back then would come and deliver. First black
Mhm.
man that would
Yeah.
deliver. He had the largest account in the city of Chicago delivering hair supplies, which he's still there, by the way, on
Mhm.
79th Street.
And
Um,
I think they still, yeah, they
yeah, they
are
there.
still there.
Yeah, because I was just there this summer. I
Mhm.
went to a class. I went to a class with my mom there. So actually it was a class about financing for hairstylists. So now let's talk
Mhm.
about that right quick before we close this out because it's 10:02. But
Okay.
financing because I'm sure when I went to nail school they did not really talk about financing. I don't know if your era do they talk about financing now?
Well, honestly, no.
No, they still
Honestly,
don't.
no.
Okay.
They and I became licensed in 2019, and
Mhm.
so of course they gave you your etiquette of
Mhm.
running a salon, but they didn't tell you how to structure your business
Mm.
where you can retire as if
Mhm.
you're working for a Fortune 500 company. And
Mhm.
so that's something that I have to learn over the years, trial and error. I
Mhm.
had to learn how to set up my own health insurance,
Mhm.
how to set up instead of a 401k, a 403b, which is
Mhm.
equivalent, right? It's just
Mhm.
that I don't have a corporation matching. I'm doing all the
Right,
matching.
right, right.
And still setting up a Roth IRA,
Mhm.
setting up life insurance,
Mhm.
making sure that, I'm covered with life insurance,
Mhm.
having brokerage accounts. So
Mhm.
no, when I went to school, they still aren't teaching that. And it's sad to say because a lot of times, as nail technicians and even hair dressers
Mhm.
or stylists,
Mhm.
if you're not behind the seat, if you're not behind the chair and you're not working,
Mhm.
your money stops,
That's
you
right.
know? And so they never told us or taught us how to structure your business. So if you want to take a month vacation, like for example, the beginning of this year,
Mhm.
when I shut my books down and to get ready for 2026, I shut my books down in my business. I let all my clients know they got the emails, they got the texts, word of mouth as they came and made their appointments. I let them know from January to February,
Mhm.
I'll be on vacation,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And a lot of times in the industry, a lot of techs you're not able to do that because
Mhm.
they don't teach you how to structure your business. Not only that you can take an extended vacation if you like,
Mhm.
but after you decide that you want to retire, you'll be able to retire with a nest egg. You
Mhm.
know, and so that's something that I really really would like to like to help the next generation of nail techs
Mhm.
understand, because it's more than just doing pedicures. It's more than just having an LLC or having a website, a EIN number. It's more to your business than that. You have to have the total structure. So once you decide that you don't want to do pedicures or you don't want to do nails anymore and retire, you don't have to retire to go to another job.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see that a lot just with people who have worked 9 to 5. They'll stop their jobs and they'll retire, but then you'll see they're moonlighting at, like at a Walmart, or or they're
Mm-hmm.
doing Uber Eats, or they're doing that, and it's not taught. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's something that is definitely needed in the industry. Thank God. I count myself as being blessed that the clientele that I have,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my clientele are entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
They are those who are multimillionaires, and so as they're just talking, they're dropping gems.
Mm-hmm.
They'll give you links and connect you. I have one client that when I tell you if this woman never tips me a penny or a dollar, just the connection that she has given me with her financial advisor,
Mm.
was a blessing. Because he's a senior rep, so just to sit down in his seats, you needed the minimum of 300. This man made an appointment with me and sat down with me for 5 hours,
Wow. So.
going through the structure of my business and literally asking me, okay, when you retire, when do you want to retire?
Mm-hmm.
How much are you looking to have when you retire?
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that I have, health insurance set up when I stop working,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that I have multiple streams of income that are coming in every week, just as I'm working, equivalent of being a nail tech.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a blessing. And that information that was given to me, I set it in place. Um, and the beautiful thing about it is once I got the knowledge of it and learn about taxes and tax codes and sheltering your money in different vehicles,
Mm.
it's so simple.
So we're gonna
And
have to
it's so
do
simple
another
that
show. We're gonna have to do another one so you can talk just about that because that'll help hairstylists and barbers.
definitely, definitely. Just setting it up, having multiple accounts
Mm-hmm.
that you are feeding in multiple accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that we all, not even just nail techs, hairstylists, barbers, every entrepreneur.
Yes,
If you
absolutely.
don't have it, and that if you're not getting a pension, and you don't have a 401k set up, you don't have life insurance or health insurance after you retire, everybody needs that structure. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's definitely something that we definitely have to talk about again, a
Yes,
part two,
yes.
three, or four.
Yes, yeah, because this is a lot. It's a lot, and I didn't even go into the history, but nails back in Egyptian time. I was like, we don't have enough time for all of that. But it's still a whole lot more, and it's a nail tech, the very first nail salon in New York. I'm gonna have to give you the history on that one also,
Hmm.
because I'm a history buff. So anything I do, I'm always gonna know the history to. Like I used to make clothes, I know the
Okay,
history on a lot of the designers. I just believe if you're gonna do something, you should know the history to it. But
exactly.
I know you have a line of products. Do you want to advertise your line of products right quick? And you want to advertise your salon? And I know we talked about you do medical
Yeah,
pedicures, but
definitely, definitely. Because my skincare line that I have cultivated is literally helping people every day. So and I'll just give you a quick story of how I got started with it. Once I started doing medical pedicures, how that came about is, of course, I was licensed as a nail tech.
right.
And then the question came when we were turning people away that could not get pedicures. And our questions like, okay, well, if they can't go to a regular shop and get a pedicure and podiatrists don't do pedicure, who does it? And so I started doing my research. And then that's where I found medical pedicures. And
Mm-hmm.
then I went and got certified at that and became a medical nail technician. But
Mm-hmm.
as I started working, and this was on 79th Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started advertising that I do this type of work, problematic feet. And so I started clients and they start coming in, and so conversation, I would ask them like, "Well, have you visited a podiatrist? Have you thought about getting medication? Because it only takes a couple of months to clear this up." And a
Mhm.
lot of people would say yes, and they would refuse the medication or they would take the medication because some of the side effects of the medication was that it damaged their liver.
Mm.
And so you had some clients who already had liver problems,
Mhm.
so that was like a sign of, death
Yeah.
and decay. So they're like, absolutely not. And then you had some people was like, that's my major organ. I'm not willing, to take this medication. I'll just deal with the fungus.
Mm.
And so that started my research, right? And so my research, I wanted to know what was the alternative. And so the alternative from that is holistic, all natural,
Mhm.
herbs and oils and things of that nature. And so I enrolled and started taking classes in herbalism.
Mhm.
And so with that, then I just started really the curiosity of just researching what this virus was
Mhm.
and how it affect the skin and how it affect the toenails and the
Mhm.
biofilm and what candida was and the overactive use um, of yeast under the toenails and the thickening of the toenails. So with
Mhm.
all this studying, it took me a while. It literally took me 4 years to perfect my products that I have now.
Wow.
Right, and I have my before and after, and people are always amazed,
Oh,
and they're like,
let me
"You are a
let me tell you.
superwoman."
Let me tell you, because I told you I love doing
Uh-huh.
pedicures. That's what
Yes.
when I looked at your page and I said, let me look at her work. I looked at your work and I saw the pedicure, which I had a customer like this with that big toe and it had all that skin up underneath the toe. I forgot the proper
Mhm.
name to call it right now. I
Mhm.
hadn't read a
Mhm.
nail book in forever. But all, when all that
Right.
skin was up under there, you got all of that out and the cuticles all nice and you'd buffed the nail out and it was beautiful. I was like, oh, she knows what she's doing. I got to get on this show. I'm so excited, so excited. And then right quick, talk about your Reiki Master 1 and 2, right?
Mhm.
Did I say it right?
Mhm.
Reiki, Reiki.
So you're right. Yes. So I'm a Reiki practitioner 1 and 2, and you're absolutely right. So that skin you saw up under the toenail is overactive yeast, which is candida, right?
Okay.
And this comes from fungus. And so a lot of times when you see my before and after, it's the products. It's the
Mhm.
all natural products that I use, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so, with a lot of clients, when they come to me, I'll give them a time frame of what I will project that I can actually correct what's going on with their feet. Sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's 9 months, it's a year.
Mm.
But once I get that before and after, and they're pleased, I give them a certificate of completion,
Mhm.
and I give them the products. They're always free to still come. A lot of my clients still come and they purchase the products from the cleansing of the feet, the foot mask, the conditioner of the skin. And
Mhm.
so they do that. And I know technically, legally, I can't say my products heal, but what
Mhm.
I can say when they walk in with fungus,
Mhm.
they leave about 6 months to 9 months later with no fungus,
Mm.
right? So and I attribute that to the all natural products that I use.
Mhm.
And so I started there, and with those products, that's where I started leading more over into understanding and working with energy. And so, how that came about is as I'm using my products and I'm massaging and it's working on their skin, even my clients who have really bad eczema or psoriasis,
Mm.
it works on their skin so well. And as I'm massaging it in, I have clients who say, you know what? Before I came here, I was going through something. I had heavy weights, but as soon as you touched this area or you did this, I felt a release.
Wow.
And I got so many clients saying that. And I was like, you know, this is a common thing. Let me look into this.
Hmm.
And so that's when I started doing my research. And
Hmm.
then I started studying the Reiki energy work,
Mm.
right? And then that even went further because I was hosting events in my spa
Mhm.
where people were coming and getting patients and really, really self heal. They understood, the structure of their body and understanding that toxic and trauma is trapped into our cells in our tissues.
Mm.
And it's just Is a releasing of that energy. And so, with that, learning that, that prompted me to even go further in my studies, in my research, because then I enrolled in Soma Institute to be a clinical massage therapist and a sports massage therapist.
Mm.
Because now I understand
Yeah,
the energy
sports.
and the spiritual side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm tying it all in with the clinical and
Okay.
sports. Um, so it's been a full circle. It's been a full circle.
Well, we don't want you to stop doing nails now since you're going to start doing sports massages. We want you to stick with the nails. We got to come get some
Oh
pedicures.
no, right? Because it's the ultimate plan is to have a full body wellness spa for us,
Okay.
right? Because I love us. So it
Mm-hmm.
starts with the feet. You have to heal what's going on with the feet, and then we can start with the body, with our skin
Okay.
and understanding and getting relaxed. Because once you're in that relaxed state, understand that's where those witty ideas come from. Those $1 million ideas come from when you're in a relaxed state. If
Mm-hmm.
you're constantly working on the go, on the move, I got to do this, I got to do that, you're not open into that space where you can actually relax and receive those downloads that
Mm-hmm.
can help you prosper financially, spiritually, and physically.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is to have a full wellness spa that is all natural,
That's beautiful.
detoxing of the detoxing hair a lot, and the skin. A lot of rashes, a lot of dermatitis issues with all natural products. Getting rid of those thick toenails, fungus, the ingrown toenails. Because you have to understand that when your body is at rest and when your body is at ease, that's when you can multiply the healing process. And we're not angry and we're not upset. We're always smiling. You know, when you get your full states
Hmm.
of relaxation. So that's the ultimate goal.
So I want to say this right quick. Your heart and your feet are the furthest. You know, they're the furthest with your body. Those two are far from each other, right? So anything that's far from
Mm-hmm.
your heart is harder to heal. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's taking so long for these people fungus 9 months to a year. And I don't think people realize they think just going to get their nails done or their feet done like it's not that serious, but it really is that serious. If somebody's putting instruments on your hands and your feet that are not
Mm-hmm.
properly clean because you want to save some money, but now you got a fungus that can blow your liver out and
Mm-hmm.
could give you sepsis. We have a patient. I work in medical right now. I have a patient right now. Her toe is getting amputated, and why?
Mm-hmm.
Because she had a fungus and she was wearing a gel polish, like you saying, getting her feet done every 3 4 months, wearing the same polish for every 3 4 months out of the
Mm-hmm.
year, and going to a certain nail salon. And she had a fungus and kept playing around with the fungus, not taking it serious. Now, an
Mm-hmm.
amputated toe. Back in the 90s,
Yeah.
when I was a nail technician, lady used to go over there to the plaza, get her nails done, and she ended up getting her finger amputated from doggone
Mm-hmm.
fungus. So it's
Yeah.
serious. So you
It's
saving
very
money.
serious.
You want to go save money, but you can end up getting something amputated or end up getting sepsis and cause way more medical issues for a $35 full set of nails. It's not worth it. And I notice when you go in them
Exactly.
salons, they take, now because they changed the law. I notice they have all the instruments in this plastic bag, but you never see them take them out of the machine or dip them in the solution. So how do you even know the stuff is clean? If people are still getting funguses now in 2026,
Yeah.
and they were getting them back in the
Yeah.
80s and 90s, and I know for a fact that they changed that law that everyone had to have their separate instruments and all of this, and they're supposed to be in the solution,
Mm-hmm.
and they're supposed to go in the, what is it, autoclave machine.
Mm-hmm. The
And
autoclave machine.
yeah,
Yeah.
so how the hell are people getting funguses still? That should
Yeah.
make people think, well, why are you going to these
Mm-hmm.
salons? So at the end of my
Yeah.
show, which this was the question, I have the damn shame corner, which is always something
Okay.
crazy. And that's it. It's a damn shame. Why are you still going to them salons and finding a fungus? I just don't understand that in 2026. Why does anybody still have a damn fungus?
Yeah.
I just don't
Yeah.
understand that. If the acrylic is put on right and you getting your fillings every 2 weeks, some of y'all are stretching it out to 3 and 4 weeks. Now that could be why you're getting a damn fungus, because the
Mhm.
acrylic is lifting and the acrylic is splitting and that water's creeping in. You can get a fungus that way. Never could
Mhm.
figure out how you
Mhm.
get a fungus on your doggone feet because all they doing is cleaning, shaping, and polishing. So I don't know how they getting that. It's got to be dirty instruments or you putting your
It
foot in a
is.
dirty tub.
It is.
So you
It
don't see
is.
them clean the tubs when you go in. They put that plastic bag in. Is that plastic bag used? Because I don't see them take it out of a box. So I don't know if those bags are being reused and the instruments being reused. It's something going on that people still getting funguses in 2026. And
Yeah.
now we have the word medical nail technician because there is a market for this because people are still getting funguses. Now, am I right
Mhm.
or wrong?
You are absolutely right. You are absolutely
So
right. And
that's
I
a
think to
damn shame.
combat that, yeah, the mission is to make sure that we educate everyone. They should know what to expect when they go into a nail salon if they're getting a manicure or a pedicure. They should know what the industry standard is. And so when they see people cutting corners, then they know, okay, well, maybe this is not the place for me,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because the sad thing about it is if you go to some salons and you are going there because maybe the price is more in your budget, in the long run,
Hmm.
you're going to be paying triple because now you're going to be paying 3 times as much for a medical pedicure
Mm-hmm.
versus you go and get a quick $40, maybe $50 pedicure, and now you've contracted something, and now your services is going to start at the minimum probably of $200, and you need multiple series
Mm.
if you want to walk around with, nice supple, soft feet. Most people just walk around with socks and shoes on all season around, but you're paying the price. You're paying the price in the end. You think you're winning in the beginning, but you are truly paying the price at the end.
Yeah, and guess what? Your feet are attached
Hmm.
to your body
Yeah.
365 damn days out of the year. So you think you should
Hmm.
treat your feet.
Exactly.
Treat
There's
your
a
feet.
reason why they say happy feet.
Right. Treat your feet. That's why I don't go to them. I'm old school because I am a nail technician. I got my own tub. I got my own supplies. I will do my own feet and I do my husband's feet. We maybe go once a year somewhere, but I do my stuff at home. I got the gel, I got the light, I got everything. I still have all my stuff. The only
Hmm.
thing I don't have is a nail table anymore, and I think I probably just got rid of one of those maybe in the last 10 years. But I don't play that. I've never had a fungus and not interested in ever finding one because it's fixed. That's just amazing to me. There's no reason
Yeah.
anybody should have a fungus now.
Yeah.
So you should definitely be questioning when you go into
Yeah.
these salons. And that gel polish that
Definitely.
they use, and they keep putting thinner in and trying to recirculate. The polish needs to go in the trash, and they still be putting stuff in there trying to hold on this polish to stretch out that little bit of that corner. Are you ridiculous? Throw that crap away and get
Yeah.
us a new fresh bottle polish. Because you know if they got a fungus and they putting that
Yeah.
polish on you, and then they gonna use it on somebody else, you know you could catch the fungus that way also. So,
I Yeah, I think people just need to make sure when you're going, know the difference, like I said before.
mm-hmm,
Know the difference between your chop shops or your nail shop, your
mm-hmm,
nail salons, and your spas, because you're finding a lot of these problems in your nail shops. Those ones that want to get you in and out and they have those really cheap prices, that's where they're cutting the corners. They're cutting the corners.
mm-hmm.
So I think we just need to educate the public and let them know what they should expect. And if they knew what we knew, then I don't think it would be a problem. I don't think it would be so much a problem with so many people having fungus of the toenails and things of that nature because they would know what to look for. And so it's our responsibility to definitely educate the public.
Well, on that note, I appreciate you, Miss Kim, and
Yeah,
tell your beautiful sister hello.
I
And
definitely will.
we're gonna have to have another conversation because we got a couple other things that we can talk about also. We're gonna talk about their financing, and then we're gonna do the
Mhm.
genealogy because you and I have a lot in common when we're talking about that also.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely, definitely.
so it was a pleasure
So
talking to
yeah.
you, And please give your phone number if anyone wants to get in contact with you. I don't know how your schedule is. How far are you booked out?
So right now in the month of April, my Saturdays are completely booked.
Okay.
This is what, March 31st.
Mm-hmm.
So my Saturdays in April are gone, but I do have spots here and there. But how people can reach me, I'm on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, and I'm on YouTube. You can simply search and find me under Chicago's favorite nail spa. Also, if you want to contact me directly, you can at area code 219-900-7907. All you simply need to do is just text, I need a pedicure. And once you send that text through, then we'll start the process of the consultation and getting you ready to have happy and beautiful feet.
Do you do manicures at all?
I do manicures too.
Okay.
I do manicures. I don't do acrylic. I do manicures because I do skin treatments too. And I think that's another episode we need to talk about because there are a lot of people who have overexposure from acrylics. They have
Mm,
dermatitis.
mm,
They
mm,
have
mm.
they definitely have eczema. And so I do treatment of the skin along with my manicures. So I
Wow.
posted a lot of that. I post a lot of that on my page. So I encourage everybody to definitely check me out on all social media platforms as Chicago's favorite nail spa.
Okay. Well, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share the show, and if you can, pin it to your page for at least a couple days. And we
Hmm.
appreciate you, and we will get back in contact with you. We will see you soon. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Well, that was really fun, and we went over. Well, I really don't have a time slot. The producer hasn't gave me any time frame to work under, so this one was fun for me because anyone that personally knows me that has sat in my nail chair or sat in the suite that we had back in the day, and they know this is a passion of mine, and it just trips me out. Like I said, it's crazy. 2026 people still getting funguses because in the 90s, in the 80s, the nails was still new and it was popping and people were stretching out the acrylic and all of that. Everybody should have been educated and know better. Like getting your feet done every 3-4 months with gel polish on, um, letting your acrylic stretch out, and you still washing dishes and taking showers and baths with water is getting in there, and also going to salons that are just simply nasty. They're not cleaning their equipment. They're not cleaning them tubs. Them plastic bags is in there when you come in there. They bringing that equipment out of a plastic bag. You didn't see it get clean like when you go to a smaller salon. Like I'm gonna say, I shouldn't say smaller, but American salon. So these are things that you should be asking yourself because there's no reason anybody should be getting a fungus. And it's crazy that I literally witnessed a lady's toe missing because of a fungus. So for that, we will be doing this show again. We're gonna have a part two and a part three with her, Miss Kimmelee. I like that. So thank you everyone. Again, I am Poppy. It's popping with Poppy, and next week we got another great show. So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please share. Peace and love, and have a good evening. I forgot to
They
say
call it a
hi to
code,
everyone. Hey, Bianca, Vegas.
but for some of y'all, it's just a suggestion. True loyalty don't have a price tag or an off switch. You either stand with your sisters, or you're standing in the way. The code is low.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's an understood contract written in the soul. Keeping every secret, playing every role. When the world gets heavy, when the heart can't explain, be the anchor in the water, be the pillow for her pain. Never leak her business, never spread her grind. Stand in the gap for her every single time. Tell her when she's wrong, and no matter how you feel, always be her comfort when it's time for her to heal. No questions asked, just a solid gold bond. Moving in the light and the dark and beyond. It's the code, it's the code. Protect the circle, keep the secrets in the vault. If others get involved, don't let it be your fault. If she is struggling, if she's falling down, be sure to pick her up and you straighten her crown. No backstabbing, no snake move. Keep your sister lifted until her vibe improves. Break the code and you become a threat. The universe is coming to collect that debt.